So moving on to your next topic, you have management process. Now, what is management? As I told you all, it is the art of getting things done through others, right? Now, what is management process? Management process, according to it is defined as per McFarland, management process is the distinct process by which managers create. Firstly, what they are doing, they are creating. Next is direct, maintain, and operate purposive organization through systematic, coordinative, and cooperative human efforts. Okay, basically, first they are creating, they are directing, they are maintaining, they are operating, they have a purposive organization through systematic, coordinated, cooperative human efforts. Okay, this is the definition of management process as per D.E. McFarland. Okay. Now, management process is basically, in simple words, is defined as the process which is composed. Okay, it is something which is composed of interrelated social and technical functions. Social functions and technical functions. It is interrelated. Okay, occurring in the formal organization, setting the purpose of accomplishing predetermined objectives through the utilization of human and other resources. Now let's look into the levels of management. As I've continuously kept on telling you all the levels of management, you have 3 levels of management. Okay, 3 or 4 levels. That is, first is your top level management, second is your upper level management or your middle level management, next you have middle level management, next you have low level management. Okay, your fourth one is low level, shop level, or operating level. Now, why are these levels of management there? These are basically to make sure that you are distinguishing between different levels, you are distinguishing between authority, you're showing who belongs in which position, so that it becomes easier in order to carry out the jobs. Now, in top level management, who are the people who are there? That is board of directors, chief executive. Okay, you have managers, you have presidents, you have chairman. Okay, you have managing director. All these people are a part of top management. Now, what are the functions performed by the top management? Very important, it will be asked in the exam. Okay, for the functions are to define these points are to be read out because it is self-explanatory. Now, what are the functions of top management? It is basically to define long-term objectives, plans, policies of the firm, appoint of departmental heads. Okay, they are appointing heads for different department, that is marketing, HR, human resource, all of these, and key executives of the firm. Next is to represent the company out to outside world. Okay, they are people who are representing the company to the outside world, that is trade unions. Okay, in case if they have interviews with the news channels or anything as such. For example, you can take Reliance Industry. Okay, to review the overall activities of the company, they need to see as to what are the activities of the company, to coordinate the various activities of different departments, that is again to repeat, marketing, HR, human resource, to define the development of organizational activities of the firm and to implement the same. It says that you need to define the development and organizational activities. Okay, you are defining what are your developmental activities and your organizational activities of the firm to implement the same. Okay, now next, after your functions of top level, you have upper middle level management. Now, what is the upper level management? It is basically the departmental and the divisional heads are called upper middle level management. Okay, whatever the departments are, and those heads are under the upper middle level management. Okay, now what is their responsibility? Their responsibility is basically to achieve the short-term goals and targets. These people are responsible to achieve the goals, that is the short-term goals. Okay, which are decided by the top level management. Okay, now what are the functions of upper middle level management? It is basically, the upper level management is basically to coordinate the activities of department, to be responsible for specific results of their departments. Okay, whatever the result of the department, whether they are performing good, whether they are performing bad, they will be responsible for the result to attain the objective. Very important, it is the important function of every department to achieve the objectives that are defined by the top management and to supervise the middle and low level management. Okay, it is also the responsibility to supervise the middle and low level management. Lastly, next you have middle level management. Now what is middle level management is basically they handle day to day activities. What are the day to day activities of the firm? They take care of those activities, and they also train, develop and recruit the operating low level management. Okay, now let's look into what are the functions of middle level management. The middle level management functions are to develop and train lower staff. Okay, whoever is below the middle level management, they need to develop and train them. They need to show them as to how they need to work in the organization. Next, they need to show them as to how they need to cooperate with various activities of department. Suppose if you have human resource, marketing, all of these, how they need to work with all the departments effectively, to give clear instructions. Okay, how they need to give clear instruction in their department. Like if you are in a finance department, or giving clear instruction as to how you need to calculate your various you will have various amounts that need to be calculated. So before calculating, you will tell them which formula to use, how you need to calculate, which is the first step to calculate, what is the information you need to take. Okay, next you have to control wastage, inefficiency, etc. in the department. Now in any department, if you will have any kind of wastage, okay, you need to make sure that from that particular department, if you are the head, if you are responsible, you need to make sure that there is no wastage, the lot of wastage in your department. Next is interpret and explain the policies. Okay, suppose as I told you all earlier also, whatever the management top management will set certain policies, rules and regulations. Okay, so this particular department has to explain all the policies to the low level and the upper middle level management. Okay, lastly you have operating management, shop floor, low level or multi or functional level management. Okay, this is basically, it is possessing of technical workers. Basically it could be people who are sending reports, or you'll have basically you will have clerks and all of these will come under this particular management. Okay, now what are the functions of this department is basically to plan day-to-day production. Okay, to assign the job to the worker. Every basically here what happens is in case if you are having workers on a day-to-day basis, you will be assigning them works to arrange for the material, that is to carry out your day-to-day operation, to explain the workers procedure to the workers, whatever the work procedure is, as to how you need to carry out the work, as to how this will be explained. Maintain discipline, very important, and good relation among the workers, to get feedback from the workers, and to supervise and control workers and maintain a good personal relationship with them. Okay, to maintain and supervise and to always maintain a good relationship with the workers. Okay, now let's move on to your next topic, that is approaches to the study of management. Now approaches to the study of management, according to Kuhns, O'Donnell and Verich, have identified different approaches. Okay, basically there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 approaches to the management. Okay, now let's look into what are the 8 approaches. 8 approaches is basically how you will approach to study management, how you will study management with these particular approaches. First one is human behavior approach. Under human behavior approach, the terms is you will have human relation, you will have leadership. Okay, human relation, leadership, behavioral science approach. Now what is human behavior? Human behavior approach is nothing but human. When it talks about humans are the important assets to the organization. Let's look into the theme. It bears the existing newly developed theories and methods of relevant social sciences upon the study of human behavior, ranging from personality dynamics to individual relations. Basically it is saying that it takes into consideration each and every employee, each and every individual is given utmost importance, wherein they are aligning the individual goals to the organizational goals. Now what are the features of human behavior approach? It says, as management is the process of getting things done by people, managers should understand the human behavior. Okay, if the management is an art of getting things done through others, right? So managers should also understand how each and every person does the work and how the work can be done, how the manager can get the work done. Okay, now emphasis is put on increasing productivity through motivation and good human relations. Okay, productivity. Now the manager should continuously motivate the employees to do the work, and he should maintain good relations with the employees. Next, again, motivation. Then there should be proper leadership should be in a way wherein the manager should make sure that he is encouraging the employees to give them ideas, opinions. He should be he should continuously communicate with the employees. He should make sure that everyone is participating and giving ideas, and he should be very good with the employees. Okay, now what are the limitations of human behavior approach? Now managers are better placed by understanding human behavior, but equating management of human behavior is it's not matching. Okay, managers will obviously understand the human behavior, will understand what is the personality of every individual, but you cannot always equally balance the management and human behavior. That is why it is a drawback. Now next is your social system approach. Under your social system approach, the real pioneer of this approach is Vilfredo Pareto, a sociologist, and later Chester Bernard. Okay, basically this particular social system approach is given by these two people. Okay, this person. Okay, now what is the theme? The theme is the organization is essential. Okay, organization is essential. A cultural system composed of people working in cooperation for achieving organization goal. Now basically there are people who are working in organization in order to achieve the goal. Okay, what are the features? Feature is organization in a social system, that is cultural relationship. Okay, because different people will belong to different religions, backgrounds, everything. So how you will take into consideration each and every person's culture, and how you will have a work balance of life in the organization. Next is relationship exist among external as well as internal environment of the organization. Okay, not only how you make sure that externally you're maintaining relationship, and how you maintain the relationship internally in the organization. The next is cooperate among members is necessary achievement of organization objective. How the employees in the organization need to cooperate with each other to achieve the objective. For effective management, effort should be establishing harmony between goals of the organization and various groups. It could be various groups and various employees as well. Okay, what are the limitations? Limitations, basically it spreads boundary of an application of management beyond true concept of organization. For example, there may be groups which may not be truly called organization, hence no question of management. If a particular group is not available in the organization, there will be no management will be present. Okay, next is socio-technical systems approach. Socio-technical system approach is nothing but it is a social and technical. Okay, it is a combination of two systems, that is a social system and technical system. Real pattern is basically determined by the interaction of two. When social and technical come together, it is known as social technical system approach. Okay, social systems of the organization is governed by social laws. Now what are these social laws? Social laws are basically the laws which are set, right? They can also be psychological forces, that is your human emotions. Now, technical consists of technological forces operating in organization, like a setting of rules, regulations, okay, technicality, how you need to go about in a technical way. Now, due to interaction of social and technical, that is you are interacting psychological and your physical, okay, you're bringing together these two in order to make sure that there is a healthy and good working environment in the organization in order to frame all the rules and regulations. Okay, now what are the uses? Uses are nothing but it helps you in solving the problems in case of the particular organization, and also it will help you in informal interactions of people. Next is your decision theory approach. Decision theory approach, your features are, it is basically management is essential. If you have management only, you will be able to decide effectively. Members of organizations are decision makers and problem solvers. Now, people who are there in organization, they are either decision makers or problem solvers. Okay, they can be treated as a combination of decision centers. Quality of decision affects the organization's effectiveness. Now, in case they take a good decision, then that is the success of the organization. If bad decision is taken by the members of the management, that means it is the failure of the organization. Now, all factors affecting decision making is the subject matter of study. Okay, you should also take into consideration what are the factors that are affecting. Next is your factors could be your social psychological aspects. Okay. Now, next is your uses. What is uses? It basically shows you how you need to give each and every person the duties as per their effectiveness. Okay, how you need to discharge the duties effectively. Okay, right job to the right person. Next is management science approach. Now, in your management science approach is basically mathematical or quantitative measurement approach. The features is basically problem solving. Okay, it is basically taking into consideration mathematical symbols and data, system analysis in some parts of human behavior. Okay, and also it is taking in mathematical tools. Simulation models are the basic methodologies for the manager in order to solve the managerial problem. Okay, now what are the uses is basically contributed a lot towards orderly thinking, which is provided exactness in the management discipline. Okay, basically it will help you in thinking better. Okay, whatever, it will help you in solving problems. In case if there is any problem, you can put down in a mathematical form. Okay, you can bring in linear equation. Okay, I think you've all studied all of this in your mathematics, right? You game theory, time series analysis, various things will be there which you can which you can use in order to solve your particular problem. Limitations. What are the limitations? Basically it is a separate school. Okay, not everyone will know how to not everyone will know how to mathematically calculate and solve, and not everyone are really capable of doing these particular things. Next is your systems approach. What is systems approach? System is defined as an organized or complex whole, an assemblage or combination of things or parts forming a complex unitary whole. Some important advocates of system approach. Now, what is systems approach? This is one of the most important, okay, one of the most important approaches, okay, which has been given. Okay, these are the concepts of systems approach. A system is a set of interdependent parts which together form a unitary whole. Okay, basically system has different parts which are forming whole and performing a particular function. Okay, it is composed of 4 independent parts, namely task, structure, people and technology. It is consisting of 4 parts: task, structure, people, technology. Okay, these are the 4 parts it's consisting. These are all something that you need to memorize, and you need to put it down on your own points. Okay, central to system approach is the concept of holism, which means a part of the system. Basically it is saying that you need to have a proper understanding of whatever your system you are bringing. And see, without understanding a particular part, okay, suppose you need to understand the system as a whole, you cannot just understand it as a part and leave the rest. Okay, so you need to understand as a whole. Next, a system can be either opened or closed. Now, open or closed is basically how you interact. That is your physical and mechanical systems. Okay, as we studied earlier, also how you bring various rules, regulations, policies, how each and every system interacts with each other. Next, you have each system, including an organization, has its own boundaries, which is separate from either of the systems in the environment. How one system is different from the other system, and how either the particular system, whatever your system you are designing, it should be very flexible. Now, why should it be flexible? Is basically in order to make necessary changes whenever required. Now, why is this? Because of the external and internal environmental factors. Your external factors like social, political, technological, okay, legal, all of these factors. Because of this, it will create unnecessary chaos. That is why your system whatever is planned should be very it should be very flexible. Okay, now every system should have flow of energy, flow of information, material and energy. Next is your features. Basically it is a combination part, subsystem. Each part has various subparts. Okay, system has subparts. Okay, now it is mutually dependent parts. One part depends on the other part. Limitation is basically abstract approach and lack of universality in it. Okay, basically there's no universality in it. That is why it is an abstract approach. Okay, that is the limitation and nothing else. It is a very good approach. A systems approach is the most important one in any organization or the management practices. Next, you have contingency or situational approach. Contingency or situational approach is basically, it is just developed recently in the area of management. Okay, what are the features? Features of management action is contingent or on certain action outside the system or subsystem as the case may be. Organizational action should be based on the behavior action outside system, so that organization should be integrated with the environment. Okay, basically whatever action you're taking, it should be integrated with the environment, it should be merged with the environment. Okay, it varies from situation to situation. From one situation cannot be same to another situation, right? So contingency approach varies from it differs from one situation to other situation. Next, you have your operational approach. Now, what is your operational approach? It is also known as your management process approach. Now, your management process approach, basically it is basically what are the features. It is the study. Here basically your management process approach, what does it state? It is something related to managers, right? It is the study of managers, what the managers do, how they are carrying out various activities, how they are performing their functions. Okay, it is a study which is related to the managers. Okay, it is a universal irrespective of the type of organization. Okay, every organization will have this particular approach irrespective of what the organization is or what are the activities carried out by the organization. Okay, it is a conceptual framework as to how you need to carry out the analysis, and it is the central core of managing. Okay, it revolves around organizing, staffing, planning and controlling. It is the central goal and everything revolves around it. Okay, next is you have your limitations. What are the limitations? Is the basically it says that managerial functions are not universally accepted. Not each and every company is accepting managerial functions. Not every organization will have a tall organization structure, that is top management, middle level management, low level management. Not all organizations will have this, so it is not universally accepted and it is not commonly shared or commonly used. It basically it moves from level to level, and it emphasis on static conditions, whereas the functions will be dynamic. Okay, because each and every time the functions keep on changing, that is why it focuses more on the dynamic functions. Because it doesn't focus on the dynamic, it only focuses on the static, that is it is static, it is not moving. Okay, now next topic is the challenges of managing 21st century corporations or organization. This was given to you as your assignment. I hope you all have done it, and these are your review questions. Please do solve it and get back. Thank you. We are done with your first chapter. In your next video, we'll be moving on with your second chapter, that is managerial functions.